Look at yourself right now. No, really look. Your phone is within arm's reach. Your mind just wandered 3 times while reading this. You're tired, but you can't sleep. You're busy, but nothing gets done. You want to change, but every attempt fizzles out within days. This isn't weakness. This is design. You've been programmed to fail. Every app, every notification, every trending topic is engineered to keep you scattered, reactive, and powerless. The modern world doesn't want you sharp. It wants you dull, distracted, and dependent. Because a foggy mind is an obedient mind. And right now, whether you realize it or not, you're living inside someone else's game. Your attention is currency. Your focus is profit. And you've been giving it away for free. But here's what they don't tell you. The mind is not fixed. It's a weapon that can be sharpened. And once sharpened, it cuts through every illusion, every manipulation, every trap they've set for you. Machiavelli understood this 5 centuries ago. He knew that the most dangerous person isn't the loudest or the richest. It's the one who thinks clearly while everyone else drowns in noise. Today, you're going to learn what they've been hiding from you. How to reclaim your mind, rebuild your focus, and become untouchable in a world designed to break you. This is the Machiavelli Protocol. The average person checks their phone over 200 times a day. That's not curiosity. That's compulsion. That's addiction. That's control. And every time you reach for that device without thinking, you're proving that someone else is pulling the strings. The system thrives on your distraction because a scattered mind never asks the right questions. It never sees the pattern. It never breaks free. But you're here. That means something inside you already knows the truth. You're ready to wake up? Before we begin, I need you to do something. Right now, drop this phrase in the comments. I control the game. Say it. Write it. Commit to it. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand what that truly means. You're about to enter a different level of thinking. This isn't motivation. Motivation fades. This is reconstruction. We're going to tear down the weak mental patterns you've been carrying and build something unbreakable in their place. You'll learn 7 protocols. 7 shifts in thinking that separate the controlled from the controllers, the distracted from the focused, the reactive from the strategic. Each one is a blade. Each one cuts away something that's been holding you back. And when you apply all 7, you won't just think better. You'll think differently. You'll see patterns others miss. You'll move with precision while they stumble in confusion. You'll become calm, cold, and calculated. A kind of person people respect without knowing why. So here's what I need from you. No distractions. No multitasking. No scrolling. Give me your full attention for the next few minutes, and I'll give you something most people will never have. Control. Real control. Over your mind, your decisions, your destiny. Let's begin. These protocols aren't theory. They're battle-tested principles that have shaped rulers, strategists, and power players throughout history. They work in boardrooms. They work in relationships. They work in personal development. They work anywhere the human mind operates because they target the fundamental mechanics of thought itself. Most self-help content gives you temporary excitement. This gives you permanent structure. The kind that doesn't depend on mood or circumstance. The kind that functions when everything around you is falling apart. That's the difference between inspiration and installation. We're installing new operating systems into your consciousness. Silence is the first weapon. Most people fear silence. They fill every gap with noise. Music, podcasts, conversations, scrolling, anything to avoid being alone with their thoughts. But that avoidance is exactly what keeps them weak. Machiavelli once said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." The fool runs from silence until life forces him into it. The wise one enters it deliberately, knowing that's where real power is forged. Silence is not emptiness. It's clarity waiting to be discovered. Every great strategist in history understood this. Before every major decision, before every bold move, there was silence. Not because they had nothing to say, but because they had everything to calculate. When you sit in silence, something happens. The noise inside your head starts to settle. Thoughts that were tangled begin to separate. You start seeing your own patterns, your triggers, your weaknesses. And once you see them, you can control them. But most people never get there because they're terrified of what they'll find. They'd rather stay distracted than face the truth about how chaotic their inner world really is. That's why they remain easy to manipulate. That's why they react instead of respond. That's why they're always one step behind. Silence trains the mind to operate independently. It removes dependency on external stimulation. When you no longer need noise to feel okay, you become dangerous. Because now you can think clearly in any situation. Chaos around you means nothing. Pressure means nothing. You stay centered while everyone else spirals. Think of silence as a mental gymnasium. Every minute spent in it strengthens your ability to be with yourself without distraction. Most people can't last 5 minutes alone with their thoughts without reaching for something, anything, to fill the void. But that void is not your enemy. It's your training ground. The more comfortable you become in silence, the less the external world can shake you. You stop needing validation. You stop seeking approval. You stop being moved by the opinions of people who don't matter. Observe everything. Reveal nothing. The world rewards those who talk, or so it seems, but look closer. The ones with real power rarely speak. They watch, they listen. They collect information while others broadcast theirs. Machiavelli warned, everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. The moment you reveal your thoughts, your plans, your emotions, you hand others a map to your mind. And once they have that map, they can predict you. They can manipulate you. They can use your own words against you. Observation is a silent form of dominance. When you stop talking and start watching, you notice things. The way someone's voice changes when they lie. The way people mirror each other when they agree. The way eyes shift when someone feels threatened. These are patterns. And patterns are power. Most conversations are just two people waiting for their turn to speak. No one is actually listening. But when you listen, truly listen, you gain an advantage they'll never see coming. You learn what they want, what they fear, what drives them, and that knowledge is leverage. The observer becomes the strategist. While others chase attention, you gather intelligence. While they perform, you prepare. And when the moment comes to act, you move with precision, because you've already seen the entire game. This is why silence and observation work together. Silence creates space. Observation fills it with understanding. Together, they transform you from a participant into a player, from someone in the game to someone controlling it. Every word you speak is a piece of information you give away. Every emotion you display is a window into your state of mind. The less you reveal, the more power you hold. People become uncomfortable around those they cannot read. That discomfort translates into respect. They can't figure you out, so they assume you're operating on a level they don't understand. And they're right. You are. You're playing a different game entirely, while they're still trying to figure out the rules of the old one. Emotion is data, not direction. Emotion is not the enemy. Weakness is letting emotion make decisions for you. The untrained mind feels anger and lashes out, feels fear and retreats, feels excitement and rushes forward without thinking. Every reaction is a leak of power. Every outburst is a confession of lost control. Machiavelli understood that rulers must appear calm even when storms rage inside. He wrote, "A prince must learn to act like a beast when necessary, but never lose his human reason." Translated to the mind, It means feel everything, but let nothing control you. Emotions are signals. They tell you something is happening. Anger reveals a boundary was crossed. Fear reveals a perceived threat. Excitement reveals opportunity or distraction. The sharp mind doesn't suppress these feelings. It studies them, asks why they appeared, what triggered them, what pattern they're connected to. This process takes seconds, but it changes everything. Instead of reacting, you respond. Instead of being driven by emotion, you use it as information. That shift turns chaos into clarity. People around you will lose control. They'll shout, panic, manipulate, and provoke. But if you remain steady, you win by default. Because composure in the face of emotion is a demonstration of power. It signals that you cannot be moved, cannot be shaken, cannot be controlled, and that makes people nervous. They'll test you, push harder, try to get a reaction. But every time you stay calm, you prove that their tactics don't work. Eventually, they stop trying. They start respecting the boundary you've set without saying a word. This is invisible authority, not demanded, earned through discipline. The gap between stimulus and response is where your power lives. Most people have no gap. Something happens, they react instantly. But when you create space between what happens and how you respond, you take back control. That space is where intelligence operates, where strategy forms, where decisions are made with clarity instead of impulse. Train yourself to pause. Even 1 second makes a difference. In that second, you can choose your response instead of being controlled by your reaction. Subtract before you add. The modern mind is a hoarder. It collects information, opinions, goals, advice, and clutter. People think more knowledge equals more power. But the opposite is true. A mind filled with noise cannot think clearly. Machiavelli once said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." The fool keeps adding until his mind collapses. The wise one removes the unnecessary and acts with precision. Power comes from subtraction, removing distractions, cutting toxic relationships, eliminating useless habits, saying no to things that don't serve your purpose. Every time you subtract something, you create space. And in that space, clarity grows. Most people can't do this because they're afraid of missing out. They want every option available, every door open, every possibility within reach. But that approach guarantees mediocrity. Because when you try to do everything, you master nothing. The sharp mind is ruthless with its focus. It identifies what matters and cuts everything else without hesitation. No guilt. No second-guessing, just clean, decisive removal. This applies to thoughts too. How many ideas are you carrying that don't belong to you? Opinions you absorbed from others. Beliefs you never questioned. Fears planted by someone else's experience. All of it is dead weight, and it's slowing you down. Subtractive thinking is uncomfortable because it forces you to confront what you've been avoiding. But once you start clearing the clutter, something incredible happens. Decisions become faster. Actions become cleaner. Energy stops leaking into irrelevant places. You become efficient, focused, unstoppable. Less is not weakness. Less is precision. Look at your life right now. How many things are you doing out of obligation rather than intention? How many people are draining your energy without giving anything back? How many habits are you maintaining simply because you've always done them? Every single one of those is a target for subtraction. Cut them, not gradually, not eventually. Now, because every day you allow unnecessary weight to remain is a day you operate below your potential. The sculptor doesn't add clay to create a masterpiece. He removes everything that isn't the masterpiece. Your life works the same way. Time is the ultimate currency. People waste time like it's infinite. They scroll for hours. They argue about nothing. They wait for the perfect moment that never comes. But time is the one resource you can never get back. And how you use it determines everything. Machiavelli warned, whoever believes that great advancement and new benefits will cause great men to forget old injuries is mistaken. In modern terms, this means the past cannot be undone. Every hour wasted is gone forever. Every day spent unfocused is a day you'll never reclaim. The sharp mind treats time like a weapon. Every minute is allocated with purpose, not rigidly, but intentionally. There's a difference between being busy and being effective. Busy people fill their schedules with tasks. Effective people focus on outcomes. They ask, does this move me forward? Does this matter? If the answer is no, it gets cut. This is why successful people seem to have more time than everyone else. They don't. They just refuse to waste it on things that don't count. Time also reveals truth. Watch how someone spends their time, and you'll see their real priorities. Not what they say, not what they post. What they actually do. The same applies to you. If you say focus is important, but spend 3 hours scrolling, your actions are telling the truth. Your words are the lie. A Machiavelli protocol demands alignment between intention and action. If you claim to want control, your time must reflect that. If you claim to want sharpness, your habits must build it. Anything else is self-deception. And self-deception is the fastest path to failure. Respect your time. Guard it. Use it like the limited, irreplaceable resource it is. Because once it's gone, no amount of regret will bring it back. Here's a brutal truth. You have roughly 16 waking hours each day. That's 960 minutes. If you waste just 30 minutes on meaningless activity, that's 3.5 hours per week. 15 hours per month. 180 hours per year. That's 7.5 full days you'll never get back. Most people waste far more than 30 minutes daily. They waste hours. And then they wonder why years pass without progress. Every minute is a choice. Choose wisely. Failure is feedback, not identity. Most people avoid failure like it's death. They play it safe, stay comfortable, and never take risks. Then they wonder why nothing changes. But failure is not the opposite of success. It's the entrance to it. Machiavelli wrote, "The one who adapts his policy to the times prospers, and the one whose policy clashes with the demands of the times does not." Failure forces adaptation. It exposes what doesn't work. It reveals gaps in strategy, flaws in thinking, and weaknesses in execution. The sharp mind doesn't fear this. It welcomes it. Because every failure is a lesson no book can teach. When something goes wrong, the weak blame circumstances. The strong ask, what did I miss? What can I control next time? What pattern can I predict now that I've seen this result? That mindset turns every mistake into an upgrade. The world punishes those who repeat the same errors, but it rewards those who learn, adjust, and evolve. The faster you extract the lesson from failure, the faster you advance. This is why the fearless are not those who never fail. They're the ones who fail, analyze, and move forward without hesitation. Failure also builds something most people lack: emotional immunity. When you've failed enough times and survived, nothing scares you anymore. Rejection means nothing. Criticism means nothing. Setbacks are just data points. You stop taking things personally because you understand it's all part of the process. That detachment is power. It allows you to take bigger risks, make bolder moves, and operate without the paralyzing fear that holds most people back. Failure is not your enemy. Stagnation is. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than you've even tried. The difference is they didn't stop. They didn't internalize the failure as a reflection of their worth. They saw it for what it was: information, a redirect, a signal to adjust the approach. When you remove the emotional charge from failure, it loses its power over you. It becomes neutral. Just another step in the process. Most people never reach their potential because they quit after the first failure, or the second, or the third. They take it personally. They make it mean something about who they are. But failure says nothing about your identity. It only speaks to your current strategy. Change the strategy. Change the result. Build in silence. Strike with precision. The world is full of talkers. People announce their plans, share their goals, broadcast their dreams. Then they wonder why nothing happens. Or worse, why people sabotage them. Machiavelli knew that the one who builds in secret holds all the advantage. He said, "It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles." In other words, the work proves itself. The announcement means nothing. When you talk about what you're going to do, your brain gets a dopamine hit. It feels like you've already done it, so the motivation to actually do it drops. You've released the pressure valve by speaking. Now there's no urgency to execute. Plus, you've shown your hand. People know your plans. Some will doubt you. Some will discourage you. Some will copy you. All of it creates resistance you didn't need. The sharp mind operates differently. It moves in silence, builds in private, executes without explanation, and only reveals results when they're undeniable. This approach does two things. First, it conserves energy. No debates. No defending your choices. No managing other people's opinions. Just pure focus on the work. Second, it creates impact. When people see the result instead of hearing the promise, they take you seriously. Actions silence all doubt. Results speak louder than any declaration ever could. This doesn't mean hide forever. It means protect the process. Let the outcome introduce itself. Let your work be the proof. Because the world doesn't reward intentions. It rewards execution. And execution happens in the quiet, deliberate hours when no one is watching. That's where empires are built. In silence. With precision. There's another reason to build in silence. Energy follows attention. When you talk about your goals, you're giving energy to the conversation instead of the execution. You're seeking external validation instead of internal commitment. The need to share is often a need for approval. And that need makes you weak. It makes you dependent on other people's reactions to fuel your motivation. But real power is self-sustaining. It doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need cheerleaders. It runs on discipline, not applause. So keep your plans quiet. Let your results do the talking. When you finally reveal what you've built, make sure it's so undeniable that no one can question it. You have just absorbed 7 protocols that most people will never understand. Not because they're complicated, but because they require something rare. Discipline. The kind that doesn't chase applause or need validation. The kind that works in silence and strikes with precision. Machiavelli once wrote, "Men rise from one ambition to another. First they seek to secure themselves against attack, and then they attack others. You've just secured yourself. You now have the framework to reclaim your mind, rebuild your focus, and operate at a level most people will never reach." But knowledge without action is just entertainment. If you close this video and do nothing, you've wasted your time. The protocols only work when applied. So here's what happens next. You pick one. Just one. Maybe it's silence. Maybe it's observation. Maybe it's subtraction. Pick one and commit to it for the next 7 days. Master it. Let it become instinct. Then add the next. Layer by layer, you'll transform. If this resonated with you, if something inside shifted while watching this, then prove it. Like this video. Share it with someone ready to evolve. Subscribe to the Machiavelli Protocol, because this is just the beginning. We're building a circle of sharp minds. People who refuse to be controlled. Who think clearly while the world drowns in confusion. And before you leave, drop this final affirmation in the comments. I control the game. Say it. Mean it. Live it. Because once your mind is sharp, Nothing can stop you. Welcome to the protocol. Remember, the world is watching, but it's not rooting for you. Most people want you to stay at their level because your growth makes them uncomfortable. It reminds them of their own stagnation. So when you start applying these protocols, don't expect celebration. Expect resistance. Expect doubt. Expect people to question why you've changed. But that resistance is proof you're on the right path. You're breaking the pattern. You're becoming something they don't recognize. And that threatens the comfortable mediocrity they've accepted. Let it. Your transformation is not a group project. It's a solo mission. Stay focused, stay sharp, stay silent, and let your results speak for themselves. If you're ready to take these strategies beyond theory, check the pinned comment. The link I left there is the next step to becoming truly untouchable.